Legend Total War here, and today we've got a 7-year disaster battle playing as Quick Headtaker going up against Grimgor's Ard Boys. And they've got 2.5 stacks, one of which being a War army with lava Arachnaroks. And we've got an army that's half good, half infuriatingly bad. Stormvermin. Anyway, let's jump into the battle and I'll see what I can do. Now, I think this was sent in by a newer player, so they can be forgiven for not understanding that Stormvermin are rubbish. And a lot of people, will be deceived by looking at the stats of Stormvermin, thinking, oh, it's not too bad. Look, they got like 40 melee defense. It's pretty good. But the thing is, you have to understand how Skaven actually work. And don't get me wrong, I got it wrong when I first started playing Total War Warhammer 2. Like, I looked at their stats of their units and I was like, I just didn't like them, right? But I didn't understand how to really play Skaven at the time. This is when I was, first got it. But now I do. I do understand Skaven. I do understand what makes them work. And what understand that makes them really work well. And part of that is not stats. I'll tell you that much. Stats aren't important to Stormvermin. To Skaven. Because they just don't really operate that way. They win battles through bullshittery. You win through ambushing by using abilities. And by tricking the enemy and getting them into situations that just they can't handle. And Stormvermin are a very basic unit where the AI know exactly what to do, which is just headbutt it, basically. Because Stormvermin have loads and loads of weaknesses and no real strengths. And the worst thing about them is that they obstruct the shots of your Rattling guns. So you basically can't use them to protect Rattling guns, which is the entire purpose of them in this army. But they can't do that. So we're not going to have them do a bad job at something. So instead we'll try and have them do a good job at something else. So what I'm firstly going to do is just stand back here. Okay. Now there's a lot of cavalry in this army here. So the Stormvermin might actually be useful in keeping them out of our flanks. But we don't need all the Stormvermin that we've got for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 Swordvermin with Sword and Shield, because they're the worst of what we've got. The least useful. And we're going to send them in early to act as a tar pit to the enemy. That's it. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you fight a battle in Total War Warhammer 2, the goal is obviously to win the battle. And to win the battle, you have to inflict the army loss penalty. The army loss penalty is inflicted when you dish out a certain amount of damage to the enemy, while also not taking a certain amount of damage. Short of basically fighting to the death, which there's no reason why anybody would want to do that. The amount of damage you need to do to the enemy, in terms of like balance of power, is roughly 75% of their total initial force, right? But you also need to keep at least about 56% of your initial force. Now, the problem with Stormvermin is because the game thinks that they're good, they're weighted heavily because of their high stats. When they die, you lose balance of power quite heavily. And so what ends up happening is that you can't inflict the army loss penalty on the enemy, despite the fact these guys have done fuck all. Now, if you had recruited Skaven slaves, for example, if you lose Skaven slaves, it doesn't matter. The game's like, they were shit. Right? And the funny thing is, the Skaven slaves and Stormvermin perform at about the same tier in what they need to be doing. They only need to be keeping the enemy delayed. That's it, right? Now, I know people will be like, what? How can you say that Stormvermin and Skaven slaves are about the same? In terms of what they need to do, well, like I said, in delaying them. Now, of course, Stormvermin are going to inflict more kills than Skaven slaves, but it's not the role of Stormvermin to inflict kills. It's the job of the weapons team, right? Now, even comparing the amount of kills of Stormvermin would get in this battle, it's still going to be pitiful, right? And I don't think it's even on very hard difficulty, so the AI don't have that many cheats. In melees, they're still going to perform like crap because they're just a terrible unit, right? But the thing is with Skaven slaves, is you send them into battle, it slows down their momentum, they're no longer charging, they get bogged down, and then the Skaven slave runs away, and then it rallies and it comes back. Stormvermin, when they break, they kind of take a little while to come back, because they have taken a bit more damage, but at the same time, they kind of routed almost at the same time. Like, they're really not going to last long. Don't expect these guys here to last long as well, but it's just to goof them around. I mean, if you don't believe me, try it for yourself. If you've got an army that's full of Stormvermin, replace it with Skaven slaves, right? And maybe a few extra weapons teams. And see if you do better. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Skaven slaves is the way to go. I'm just saying you're going to get similar results. What you actually need to be doing is recruiting Plague Priests. Because Plague Priests carry with them 5 clan rats. And they don't last long, but you don't... No rat unit lasts very long. So they last as long as they need to. So I'm just using them to goof them around, that's it. And there's 5 of them in there. And then there's also Plague Monks. So I usually go with 4 Plague Priests for that purpose, and that's my front line. And it's like 30 units. I just keep casting because it's cheap. And the great thing about it is that after each battle I can keep doing it. So in this situation here, let's just say I lost 90% of the Stormvermin. If we had to fight another battle right after this one, those Stormvermin aren't coming back. But the Menace Belows and the Vermintides are. So it works really well in situations where you have to fight loads of battles. Right. Send them in now. Just get them to commit suicide. That's it. We just delay them as long as possible so that we can get as many shots in with the artillery. So under normal circumstances, if we had more Plague Priests, I would have started summoning these a bit earlier, and they'd be doing the exact same thing that the Stormvermin are doing right now. Wow, look at those kills on Stormvermin! Oh, Legend, that's not fair, they were fighting trolls! Fucking weapons teams kill everything. That's it, just keep them away. Yeah, you come over here. How'd that go? Looks like they more or less avoided that. 6 kills, 1 kill. Just keep annoying them. No, don't shoot at their heroes, that's a bad choice. Yeah! That's rattling guns, see? Yeah! Lovely, lovely rattling guns. Rubbish Stormvermin, get the fuck out of my face. I can't believe we're actually not doing too badly, I think. The problem here is that I'm running out of the Vermintides now. I have to start using the Plague Monks. It's just that they're more expensive. Keep doing that behind their lines just so it slows them down. Now, they do have spiders coming in, but if we get past this stuff here, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Not yet, not yet. Alright, alright. Alright. Not yet. Over here. Your job is to protect. Come on, why aren't you shooting? Okay, gonna need that there now. Alright, kill the enemy general time. Okay. Yeah, they basically insta-killed the general there. Alright. Enemy reinforcements have started coming in. But it looks like these forces here are basically obliterated. Not entirely. Oh god, you. Alright, stop firing. Clear out this load. Reform up, and then because we still got some very dangerous enemies coming in still. Yeah, hang on. That's fine. You keep shooting at that. That's totally fine. Oh, why do you have that? You should go to the Plague Priest. I'm out of magic. Could you possibly shoot into that? We have to use that now. We don't want them touching our artillery. We got a decent amount of wins. Yeah, this side over here we're struggling a little bit more against. So just get him off the battlefield. Alright, we got no more summons left. Alright, when the time comes, we need to be aiming at those Arachnarok spiders, because that's what's either going to win or lose this battle. Why? I told you to go up to that. I'm hoping kill him. This is going to hurt otherwise. I didn't have anyone else to send in there, and we were too busy with this. Alright, warp lightning cannons. Attack that. Alright, I need you to get in there. At least you got a health potion. Shoot that. Alright, rattling guns. Fire! We've also got this Doom Rocket, which... honestly, I'm probably better off not using it. Holy crap. Okay, said rattling guns. Wait, they had 3? I thought they only had 2. No, 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 watch out the friendly fire!
Quick head taker, must come. Tyson, hurry! Should we run, please? Rattling gun.
I didn't do that.
Warp block loaded.
Dead. Alright.
Now, ready, now. Quick,
To use these guys as frontline force now.
our tail's yours. Scurry, move. Warlock engineer! No sneak.
Quick did a good job, though. And there it is. We actually won the battle. Holy crap. Alright. Yeah, pure victory. Alright, so having a look at stats of things. 200, 149, 134. Don't forget they also killed the what's it called? The spiders. But you know, those Stormvermin, they didn't do terrible, but I still stand by the decision that, like, having some more Plague Priests would have been so much better, because the only real struggle we were having there was that they were starting to get too close to our Rattling guns. I reckon if you had trade out 2 of these Stormvermin, especially the Sword and Shield ones, you can keep the Halberd ones, they're better than the Sword and Shield ones, just because they're better against large, and put in 2 more Plague Priests, doesn't matter what their trait is, you'd do so much better with that.
It consumed.
And here's another thing as well. Here's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. Whenever you win a battle as Skaven, you can eat captives, right? Now, that eat captives is largely based on the number of enemy captured. Now, that amount of enemy captured relative to the max amount of your deployed force will determine how much replenishment rate you actually get. Now, Stormvermin and Skaven slaves have really high numbers of units, right? 180 or 160. But if you had a single entity dude in there, they don't get any of this. But you know who does get it? All the Rattling guns. So what ends up happening is, if you don't have any melee infantry, so no Skaven slaves, no clan rats, no what's it called, Stormvermin, and instead had lower number of entity units such as rat ogres or single entity dudes, any damage that you do take will basically be instantly recovered after every battle, allowing you to fight battle after battle after battle without taking any damage, as long as you win. But there we go, we got through it. We lost the Stormvermin unit, but you get rid of it anyway. Now, what you need to do is put in... No, not him.
Poison after.
Put in a... What level is this guy? 27. So he was immortal. Okay. Where is it? Put in a... Oh, you got a potion of healing for him? Yeah, he needs that. He deserves it after what he did, because he was instrumental in that victory. He did more than the Stormvermin did. But anyway, we got through that. Now, I know I'm a bit, like, mean to Stormvermin, and if that makes you upset, I'm sorry. But I really, really want to drive it home, and just so that you guys don't have these kind of problems. Truly, if you really understand Skaven, do not recruit Stormvermin, okay? Anyway, this has been a public health announcement from the Skaven. Anyway, that's the end of this one, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Appreciate you.